All right, so my first question for you is, are you able to see the game okay-ish?
Yeah, it's actually pretty good.
All
It's
right.
like a solid 480.
40p it is. Better than nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Safety Net. It's the quarterfinals, the round of 8. It's only best of 5s from here on out. And spawning here in the top right corner of the map to kick this off, it's going to be Evil Genius's blue Terran player, XenoCider.
In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, it's Harstem.
Alright, so normally Zombie kind of just rides my camera anyway, so to speak, when we're casting together, so hopefully this won't be too different. But again, to explain a couple of things really fast, guys, she's not actually able to witness this firsthand, I guess, just some issues with connections. But secondly, and most importantly, this is being played on the North American server. Sadly, there is no middle ground between these two servers, and there's always going to be lag one way or the other. But one of the things we've done is given a coin flip to alternate servers. So XenoCider did win the coin flip, and thus we are on North America first. The second game, win or lose, will be on Europe, and so forth and so forth. If there's a situation where one of these guys is okay playing on the European server, then of course we won't swap around, and we'll save everyone the hassle.
So wait, did they choose to swap?
Yeah, we're swapping NAEU,
Okay.
NAEU.
I figured. It seems I don't know, although there was that one time where someone actually had better connection on the NA server when they were European.
Yes, that is our last tournament. I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh well, it'll come to us later, of course. But so Harstem's PVT, I think, is probably one of his best matchups. Problem is, you are playing again on the away server, so it might not go quite as smooth for him. But XenoCider, we've seen do some pretty cool stuff PVT as well. His whole group, I think, was Protoss, if I'm not mistaken. It was Saravati, Desro, and Minigun, with XenoCider being the only Terran, and got out of his group alive.
Yeah.
It did some kind of cheesy things, if I recall, too. One of my drops were definitely on the menu, but it's nothing Harstem hasn't seen before.
Didn't he also T-Rex?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that 8 racks that was in base on Overgrowth. We thought it was going to be Reapers.
Like 8 racks. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, so he does a lot of, like, I guess, unorthodox stuff. You know, stuff that we don't only see from basically, like, Journey.
Ooh.
Yeah, nice kill right there. So that's why, like, XenoCider, I think, is, like, he's not only, like, a good player and everyone's, like, hurrah, hurrah, foreigner NA, like, Terran especially, but he's also just has, like, cool builds, you know? Like, he's not afraid to be really aggressive, and he's not afraid to play the macro game either, which actually might not be his best suit versus Protoss. He'll actually do pretty amazing if he can get a little aggression in and, you know, and macro up back at home, no problem. But if he faces someone who can macro with him and deal with the aggression, he kind of seems lackluster when it comes to the big endgame army, Ghost, Viking, Bio.
Yeah, I think that's where it becomes a little bit worrisome for me, because that does seem to be what Harstem likes to do. I can't think of any other TVP set we cast where we're like, oh, this may very well go to 40 minutes long, because, you know, it's Harstem versus Koss, Harstem versus the world, really. We always just see these really long matches out of them.
Yeah, so I am a little worried as well, but we'll see if XenoCider has anything, you know, maybe change up the style a little bit. That's one thing I would have liked seeing in the groups, even though we got out, so whatever, you know, he did worked, obviously, but, you know, mixing up the style, less so about the build. I mean, mixing up the build's okay too, right? But, like, being suddenly very, very drop-heavy, as opposed to the single, double drop, and then, okay, I tried. Let's go to the game.
Well, he's got enough Marines to deal with what's coming here for the initial poke. Expedition loss is surprisingly short. I always forget this. I do want to remind you guys also, sorry, before you get too far into the action today, the match order being played is not reflective of the brackets. If you want to see the actual brackets, you have to go to the Team Liquid or the Liquipedia page, because we went with player availability. Some folks had to play earlier, some folks had to play later, and I don't know if this was on the top of the bracket or not, but I do know that the brackets today are different than the order in which we're playing the matches. Just want to throw that out there on the side.
Cool. I have no way of checking that.
Yeah, apparently Zombie can't do anything. Like, browsers don't work, StarCraft doesn't work, just Skype.
It's the stupidest thing. Like, Skype is usually the stupid program, and right now it's like a blessing.
Yeah.
You're one time to shine, Skype.
I know, it is like 90% like a real thorn in our sides when it comes to getting things done, but alright. We won't knock it for today. We do have Blink on the way for Harstem. This is not so surprising. The Twilight Council is a little bit off to the side, but I mean, I want to talk about this big blink all-in potential because this expedition lost, but it doesn't feel like he's heading that direction with it. If anything, he's just looking to play the macro game. I mean, his Nexus came down really fast, and with the Immortals, with the potential Colossus coming out to follow it up, I mean, he's just going to be able to toy with XenoCider all he likes. Because for any Terran player in this situation, you don't want to fight against a Protoss player who's been relaxed, who's been double forging, or just doing whatever tech they want.
Yeah. The blink would only be good if it is because of those back rocks. Otherwise, it's actually a very bad blink map.
Yeah.
Not many ridges to hop up on, but it has just been the recently, I mean, in the last, I guess, 2 months that blink has just been a good opener. And people have really, you know, A, not been all leaning off of it, so not like 6 gateways thrown down, but also B, not being as aggressive even with the 3 gateways. A couple of Protoss that we see will throw on a proxy pylon and will try and scare the Terran player. Most of them are just, you know, 6 stalkers in this macro.
Well, would you see the robo coming down right now? This is kind of a cool thing for Harstem that I think he does more than any other. Where if you show it this early, if XenoCider rescans and sees this, he might immediately think, Colossus, got to get those double starports going. But wow, that's a hella fast start for Harstem. But I was gonna say, sometimes Harstem very much only invests in like 1 or 2 Colossus and never makes that extended thermal lance because he's going faster Templar for the bio. Nice pick up out of XenoCider. Observer did see the army moving out though, so Harstem knows full well he's going to need something because 1 photon overcharge is not going to cut it. Does
XenoCider? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. He might go check. It seems like there's a Marine going. Okay, that's nice. Obviously, the building that isn't done is going to be the easier targets. There won't be any photon overcharge. The medevacs are coming up the army now. There we go. And he might just stim in there. You know, be really quick about it. Because if he delays for even just like a second more, the Colossus will be out and maybe in a decent position.
It's going to be a rough. I mean, he picks the Nexus or the Colossus. I don't know if he can really get both. With this many stalkers there to vanguard it. Guardian Shield helping out a ton, but he will get a lot of the stalkers. Marauders are gone though. Marines aren't going to cut it versus that Colossus count. So picking up in the medevacs and getting out might be his best option if this gets a little too hairy. In fact, he just walks away. His own third base is coming down on location as well. This is kind of that awkward scenario we saw with Cross, where we do have one player expanding vertically while the other expands horizontally.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't play out nearly as nicely as TVZ does. TVZ is all about those consistent pushes, where TVP can actually have a lot of just one person sort of posturing, usually the Terran, right, and then not actually attacking. And the Protoss, you know, depending on how they are, usually just sits back in macro. So the one thing that's terrible about that third though for XenoCider is not like the location necessarily, but that the brush is right next to it. It's like a proxy pylon up along the ridge. Really annoying.
The photon overcharge does catch the Marine stimming into the base, and he was hoping to just stim through for a bunch of probe kills. Gets about 4, not too bad, but picks up and gets out of there. Drop to the north, though, it's filled with a lot of Marauders, and quite frankly, that Colossus should be quaking in its boots. But one thing Harstem does have is a lot of Zealots guarding on both sides, and these things, if nothing else, they're good at soaking hits.
Yeah. Well, he's already on his way up to charge. Do we have any? We don't really have any Vikings yet for XenoCider. Oh, there they go.
Yeah, production just not. Wow, you can actually read that, huh? I wasn't sure like how bad this would look for you. Like, but look, yeah, Viking production does kick off. We've got a couple of Widow Mines for XenoCider. I like that he's actually investing in the Widow Mines. It's not too bad to get about 4 to 6, just generally speaking. But of course, we've been watching. You and I have seen a lot of games lately where Zealots, 37 deep, 40 deep. You wish you had a couple of Widow Mines for, and Terran players just died to that charge, but if he's got enough Widow Mines, that won't be a problem.
I think the coolest thing about the Widow Mines, again, going to that brush, like, you put them on, like, the direct outside. Maybe the Observers slow a little bit.
Oh, man, Harstem really miscalculated how much the attack in the natural would be. XenoCider going to stim in and just try and focus it down. He should be able to get this. There's a lot of Marauders, and as he picks this off, the drop in the north, gets picked up to try and run away, but not before losing a good chunk of Marines. But killing the base, not a bad move. Immediately rebuilds it, of course. But is this harass really worth it for XenoCider? He's not getting a whole hell of a lot done. The base snipe was cool, and if it was 2 bases, that's devastating, right? But, I mean, Harstem's mining happily on a third and not really taking anything from this. Whereas XenoCider, it's not like he's soaring ahead on upgrades. He doesn't have a lot of Vikings yet. He does have that double starport down now, though, so production looking good. Only +2 weapons on the way.
Yeah, he's getting second engineering bay though. Kind of funny positioning.
It's kind of funny to see. Wouldn't mind seeing manage to go down, so they'll take out a couple of the zealots.
Yeah, Observer was a little off to the side. The storm is on the way, I guess like soon. Actually, sometimes they just get the High Templars and wait a little bit on the storm, but this time it might be good enough army. A couple of charge outs worked, a couple more stalkers, yeah, they're fine.
Cheeky bugger. He's trying to go through that natural base, but you know, Harstem's not going to leave this unguarded again. You know, fool me once, shame on me type thing, and XenoCider's not going to get that free kill he did before. So perhaps having to look towards that actual end-game composition. We got a potential Ghost on the way here with the Ghost Academy kicking off. I don't know that we'd see an SCV pull out of XenoCider. He's continuing to really just upgrade and pour his heart into tech, so it doesn't feel like an all-in's coming.
Yeah, when that second engineering bay went down, that's kind of what I figured. He has actually been going for kind of fast upgrades in the last TVPs. Like his second engineering bay was always down in time for the 2-2 to start together, but this time it's a little bit later. And an interesting position as well to guard the, I guess the bunker. It's supposed to go up to the third. I don't know if it's quite there yet.
XenoCider does have a fantastic supply lead, but will it be effective is going to be the big question, I guess. The Vikings are going to try and focus on a couple of the Colossus, but as we see, there's so many stalkers to guard for them.
Yeah. But I like this, that he like went ahead and just microed back and saved most of the Vikings. It was another problem in his macro game is that he would, I guess, see a point of dedication and he would dedicate. Like it was like going all in on that army. And then, you know, he would barely lose out because charge at warp ins or the Colossus shots were, you know, tearing apart and he didn't notice, stuff like that. So pulls back for now, goes for maybe a Doom drop. I
don't know if this will work. Harstem kind of realizes, like, hey man, you've given up on my third. Something's fishy.
Yeah. We do have a Zealot that will... I think he saw 1 or 2.
He probably saw at least one, and let's be honest, that's all you really need to see. XenoCider probably going to give away the attack warning anyways over here on top of the 4th. No, going to go straight to the natural base. His boost is on cooldown. That would be a big mistake if there's Templar. So, not wanting to risk it. Harstem does cancel and XenoCider unloads. Meanwhile, that army's kind of postured halfway between the third, halfway between the natural. Not really sure which way he wants to go. If the Vikings consolidate, there's really not that many stalkers, and you might just get the free Colossus kills he needs, but the insistence to go through the natural, that's a lot of defense over here too.
Yeah, some charge outs coming in as well. That will not be broken, no problem. But the third still is a little shaky. There are a lot of stalkers as well as some storms. Storm did finish, so...
Oh! Juke and Jive, you look right, I go left. Decides to boost into the natural base once again. Ghost here on the front line is going to have to land a couple of EMPs to help these Vikings, but he can't afford to lose these Vikings. Micro necessary everywhere. Like, XenoCider has to be doing 5 things at once. That medevac barely gets in here alive. And we'll see what sort of kills he can get. Meanwhile, that army in the middle of the map still hunting for the Vikings.
Yeah, nice move. The Vikings are actually kind of locked out from where the Colossus actually are, but the army disengages and he has to deal with the main force in his main.
Beautiful choice to focus down the stalkers because there's no way you're getting out of there with the stalkers blinking underneath you. But takes out one of the Colossus, not too bad. This drop has been cleaned up basically. Yeah, it's gonna take like 1 stray stalker shot. Yeah, 1 sentry shot. That medevac was so low.
Well, Harstem is expanding northward, so it really is like cross now. I actually like that choice. I don't know if the other one was kind of like a fake or he realized this one would be good because that's where his army is anyways. You know, the right side is the weakness of Expedition Lost when you expand like this, but his defense so far and his natural has been really good, and he has an observer over there, so he doesn't have to worry about it that much.
Yeah, the splits out of Harstem have been absolutely fantastic and on point. Normally we do see, and this is probably the hardest thing for Protoss players all over, no matter what region you're from, is splitting the right amount of units. And Harstem has nailed it so far this game, but EMPs on top of the Colossus, they take away the shields right away. There are going to be storms available for him this time. I don't know if he's got a lot of Templar. He's got about 5 ready and able, so hopefully he saves a couple of EMPs for those. Ghost, please, Ghost, please. Get a little bit awkward with the micro on the left side. The Vikings are starting to deal their damage, though. The Colossus numbers have dwindled pretty heavily, but there's Archon still. There's a lot of Stalkers. Can XenoCider break through this? Harstem started running out of units, but both players are losing army supply rapidly.
I think if Harstem had a proxy pylon, the only one that he had was Kill to the Nexus, he would be warping a lot of charge lots from, like, you know, maybe right next to the army as well. And that could have been a little more dangerous, but they both, again, bounce off each other. Harstem a little bit in a supply lead. It's all in army. He did get a second upgrade or a second forge. So his upgrades, actually kind of behind. No, actually they seem to be even. Like it's gonna be 3-2 or 3-2.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit awkward like that actually, especially because it's armor versus weapons. But I guess one of the things too we haven't seen a lot of. I thought it kind of reminds me real quick that Zealot attack on the right side. There hasn't been a warp prism for Harstem in the main. He hasn't had these pylons segmented off to the top left. So this attack, this was needed by Harstem, but he's not been able to get it off till just now. So XenoCider has really been truthfully getting away with too much this game because he's not had to worry about repercussions back at home, any sort of defense. Now he's going to, of course, be fully aware that that's the case, but truth be told, sometimes just one bunker and 2 Marines can be all you need.
Yeah, especially with the positioning that he set up with that engineering bay. I really thought he would put a bunker over there.
I know, it looks so perfect for it too, right? Or even over here.
Yeah.
Either way. Let's see, more Viking production right now. This, not a bad thing, but this is where I think for Terran players more than Protoss, he has to watch what he's doing, because it's the reaction game, right? Like Harstem's not reacting to the amount of Vikings that XenoCider has. It's the other way around. XenoCider's trying to balance his ghost and his Viking count to react to what Harstem has. You see 17 Templar, you don't start building Vikings. You continue with the ghosts. Nice planetary. And vice versa for the Vikings. So it is definitely a little bit awkward right now because XenoCider doesn't know which is safe to go into. But Harstem's also starting to mix it up. A Dark Shrine on the way.
Now this attack right here is actually kind of worrying. Not the Zealot attack. The main engagement. XenoCider kind of gave up the position, probably rightfully so. He wasn't feeling comfortable taking on that army. But when they were over the ridge on the gold, the Vikings had a big, nice place to be, and now it's kind of lost. You have stalkers harassing over here. Always, probably the most annoying thing.
Waiting for XenoCider to stim into that natural base, get a free Nexus.
There's a High Templar. Yeah. Okay. So one storm will, drain some of the energy on the medevacs, I guess, because they really died.
It might actually help too, because then these won't be feedback so easily.
Yeah, right.
Does have to be careful. Those charge slots coming. He could pick up, but he's got to do it now. X-Fact looks like he's just going to sit his ground and fight. Meanwhile, Vikings sacrifice on the other side of the field. Don't really quite kill the Colossus. And that is unfortunate. We don't have those vehicle weapon upgrades. It's just so hard to chew through those level 3 shields. But Xeno started getting away with a little bit more than I think Harstem was fully aware of. Now realizing he maybe needs to commit a little bit more of his forces back. Starts consolidating back at home. I mean, the natural base dying was scary, but it's that tech you don't want to lose in the main. The production you don't want to sacrifice. But fighting on 2 fronts, both players are still playing quite well. We are 25 minutes in the game, and they're still, as you said moments ago, bouncing off each other. It's been a pretty balanced set of engagement so far, but XenoCider might find himself a little bit light at home. That storm's going to sting for certain. I just really can't finish off that Colossus.
Well, what's funny is that the Vikings, because they were in passive mode, are actually kind of spread out. But yeah, that drop comes back, Vengeance. Tries to third, this isn't going to happen.
If he had unloaded that
he's
last medevac, I think he probably might. Yeah, he might get it with this too. Nice pick off there. Harstem basically set down to 1 mining base, and XenoCider's looking to storm into that one too. Oh, this actually gets a little bit tough for Harstem. He's supply blocked. He needs more pylons. His income is starting to burn a little bit. He's got a lot of gas, so he can work on a ton of Templar in a pinch. But XenoCider took another base while this goes on, and I gotta be honest, I don't know about you, Zombie, this is looking more and more like XenoCider's game.
I agree, but Harstem always has that chance to get a really, really great engagement. We've seen a lot of engagements in PvP just go suddenly like one way or the other, like really quite harshly. Yeah,
there's too many times where either the Terran player gets away with too many drops and it looks funny for the Protoss and they die, or the Protoss just get that good Colossus sweep and Terran get melted, and you're like, well, that's game.
Yeah, it's or they dedicate too much to the drops, and they do get attacked. I mean, Harstem has constantly been trying to find that point and never really can, but now seems to be what he thinks time to go. Nope.
A little bit cautious to chase in there. XenoCider, he is repairing the Vikings. I actually kind of like this move. This late in the game normally wouldn't be that big of a deal, but really his production is so finite, and not quite maxed himself due to these engagements, so trying to, just extend the life of every Viking. Not a bad choice. I would like him to get to this point where he could maybe afford more weapon upgrades on the vehicles, make the Vikings a little more effective. But I mean, either way, it's the class is gonna be hard to kill. Yeah. Ooh, unless they're like this. Oh, if only he knew. If only he knew.
Dangerous. Oh, he sees it. Yeah, free Colossus, at least one.
Not bad. Meanwhile, those drops, that's what he went back to chase for. They're going to get another Nexus. Actually, he's on top of the probes this time. There is a DT, but I don't know. They should really focus the Nexus and try and get out of here, maybe. There's not that many stalkers to catch them. Meanwhile, turrets starting to come down as you realize Dark Templar are finally in play. These storms, can he get the storms? Nope, not quite. Looks like that bunker was never placed down to the space here in the north, but at this point, it's not about keeping the mining alive so much as it is those extra 3 Raxes. Production is going to be key. He's upgraded fully, 3-3. Who cares about the engineering rate going down? Gases are not bad, but not crucial, I'd say. Harstem's still expanding through this, by the way. It's just insane. It reminds me of watching True. Just, lose a base, take a base.
Yeah.
But this could be the final engagement. This is kind of everything on the line for Harstem. Last couple Colossus are going to go down. Yeah, but there's so many Archons, there's so many Zealots.
I don't think he has a big enough ground army anymore. He needs to find like a really great choke position, and even then the Archon's gonna get a good blasts.
Agreed. I mean, this is one of those things where, man, where are those Wood Mines when you need them, right?
Yeah, it does look like XenoCider is gonna go down. I mean, that is the case that's what's been happening. I always go back to that game. It seems like such a miracle how he could expand and expand and expand. It is mostly because he would never take an engagement. It's kind of what happened with Harstem. Harstem took small engagements, but never the game-ending one, he did now. So he had just enough money to expand.
It's a trade-based.
Yeah, but it's kind of a lackluster one.
Ace 2, Ace 1.
The army isn't big enough that, yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of scans left either. Continuing to scan for these DTs is actually out of the question at the moment.
Yeah. A big reason as to why, I think that XenoCider looked so good, by the way, was was that the lack of harassment, until the last 5 minutes from Harstem, but also that orbital command that just kind of snuck its way down to the bottom.